Yeah, I'm thinking maybe I'll put this roulette on. Um, maybe right here, like so. Like that. And maybe I'll kind of define it top and bottom with a little line. Give it some interesting. Oh, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, I think just two. Clean up the bottom here. I think that's a better angle to have on a stick there, by the way. Now, a lot of people ask me, do you measure your lids with calipers? And no, I don't. What I do, usually, if I'm making lids in this way for containers of this type, I just pry my pot off and I throw my lid oversized, which I'll do now, and then I trim it down to size later to fit in the hole. Because if the pieces are both leather hard, they both shrink at the same rate from that point. So you do have to make sure, if you make your lids separately and trim them to size later, that your pot isn't bone, the pot that you're measuring off of isn't bone dry, and your lids are, soft leather hard. That'll really screw you up. But it's usually not an issue, especially if the lids aren't big, because of course that discrepancy kind of spreads itself out over, over distance. So since it is a percentage thing, 1% difference over 3 inches is a lot different than 1 or 2% distance over 8 inches. Oh jeez. Oh jeez. There we go. Gotta form a bit of a slip under there for that to work. Yeah, here, I'll make this into the lid. I think that bread crock, or that storage jar, I guess it is now, is going to get like a lug handle on it. I should make some fermentation jars soon. For the lid, I'm going to spread out the clay a little bit more, almost as if I'm making a tiny plate. In fact, that's pretty much exactly what I'm doing, is I'm making a tiny plate, but with enough thickness in the bottom that I can trim the other side around, because these are going to get flipped as the lid and then get a handle on what is now the bottom. And these, you really have to compress the bottoms, otherwise they crack. I wire most of my stuff off right after I throw it, but even still, on these cheap plywood bats that I made, that happens. If you've got the fancy bats, then feel free to skip this step. The fancy self-release, just let your pots dry on them and they pop off bats, which I don't know, I've kind of been wanting to make some of those for a while, but the material is actually a little hard to find because you can't just use MDF, because it goes bad, it dissolves, so it has to be that high density fiberboard stuff, but at least a 1/2 inch thick. Masonite is iffy. It swells up and stuff. So I think there's my lid. I'll show you folks how that goes on here in a second. In fact, let me clean off my hands so I can... I've got you folks, you're seeing this through my phone camera, and it is stuck into a lump of clay on a stool on my table. So it's very, very high production value thing going on here right now. In fact, well, I guess the clay piece is now stuck to the bottom of the phone. All right, but yeah, so this goes like that and gets trimmed down to size at a later date. So actually, I think I'm going to stop this here because I got to shift stuff around. I'm out of wearboard space now. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I think maybe these are going to become a regular thing, these videos, because I kind of enjoy doing this, especially in the age of Corona where, I don't know, any form of activity that is not, sitting around is Wonderful. Anyway, yeah, I hope you're all doing well, and yeah, maybe check in on your friends. I know it's kind of a dark time for some people right now, and I hope you're all well and healthy. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.